Welcome back, everybody. For round 4, we're motoring on through, and this is going to be and it's going to be a really good matchup. Hopefully, we've got Benjamin Pham versus Luca Clavadetscher. This is going to actually be a super good game. Again,
very interesting.
They're just setting up now, so we can hopefully get to the game pretty soon. So we want to be able to get to the game because we've got some interesting decks coming up. We haven't had much repeats so far.
That's true. Yeah, we have a lot of luck. We also had no mirror matches so far.
I think we've dodged them all, but we do have another Zoroark.
Yeah, Zoroark with Marshadow.
From Benji.
Yeah.
And then Luca is playing the kind of Psychic Malamar toolbox.
Yeah. Interesting.
So this is a matchup where, as a Zoroark player, you're pretty comfortable. We've seen this happen before. Because you can take the Chaos on the Malamars more aggressively. They need to get a lot of energy on the board. You hit things like Dawn Wings for weakness, so you can only really use a Dawn Wings when you can GX attack with it to protect itself. And it can be a bit tricky to navigate, but there are things like Shining Lugia. There are the Marshadow GXs, which can, between the two of them, get things going. So once we can get the timer started for the players, will you guys need to go start their time? Oh, yeah.
But we can switch to the
and we'll go to the game cam ready.
They're ready with their setup.
Then we can have a quick look at their prize cards.
So, Benji has a whole Lycanroc line in his prices.
Yeah, there's one of the Lycanroc's lines. He's playing 4-3, so it's not too much of an issue. He's got plenty more left in deck. Interesting for Luca, he does have the one of Marshadow, the non-GX Marshadow, to shuffle and draw 4 is in his prize cards. A lot of people are using this right now because we just don't have many draw supporters, and sometimes you have to find a way.
Using it as worlds.
Yeah.
Really, really right time. That was fun.
And it's actually a really important card for these decks because you can just search it so easily with Mysterious Treasure and just keep going. But we see Benjamin is just going to do what Zoroark does and just grab a load of cards out of the deck turn 1. And he does burn one of his Guzmas. He has plenty of switching and gusting effects available anyway. He has the 2 Guzma in the deck.
Should not be too bad.
He has the Lycanrocs as well for the effect. So he's always going to be able to reach the cards he needs to hit. Is he playing a copy? So I'm just having a quick look at his list. I don't see any copies of things like Palpad to recycle any of these. So
I was also checking no Oranguru, no Palpad.
Yeah, so this is another one of those games where once the cards are gone, they're gone outside of...
He's also not playing Rescue Scratcher.
Yeah, so his is, okay, we're going to go through the deck exactly once. That's all we've got.
Yeah, true. Interesting choice, actually, to not have any recycle cards at all.
Yeah, so it's actually quite unlikely to have players who are so used to having things like Puzzle. We've had VS Seeker in the format before that. Getting cards out of the discard pile is just something that's done. It's a way of just going, it's more resources. We're now in a format where actually doing that is way more difficult. So it's going to be a problem for them to kind of like manage their resources.
Yeah, Luca's playing an Acrobike. Malamar is one of these decks where you want to go fast, so it doesn't matter too much if you have an aggressive start. It seems like he draw into another Inkai.
Yeah, he has.
Mysterious Treasure.
Well, so really he has to make sure he can hit multiple Inkais down, protect them all, ideally put some Psychic Energy in the discard pile, because he's got to make sure he can survive a couple of turns. The Sudowoodo from Benjamin has already caused problems for him because he can't put that many in play because he needs space for his attackers too.
Yeah. But... well, he might be interested in getting rid of that Sudowoodo quite early.
Benjamin's like, it's like, how many Mysterious Treasure did you just get? He can't believe his luck. This is something I like about this kind of point in the tournament. It's a lot of times you get 2 players who know each other quite well, like Luca and Benjamin have probably faced each other a few times.
They're both in the top 16 of Europe during like the last season.
Yeah, there's normally like big parties where they like hang out and just talk Pokemon for ages, and it's one of those things that
there's this top 16 chat.
Yeah, like they are super good friends.
Top 16 is in,
So, and Benjamin's always one of those players, one of the more expressive players to have on the stream. Luca too, actually. Like Luca can be, he can give a good reaction. He's like, I've also got a Lily. I've played all these mysterious treasures.
Now my hand is pretty small. It's still turn 1, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is one of the things. Like this is the kind of I think it's been phrased as gas can in the States, where basically it's a turbo version of the Malamar decks. They're looking to go have one of those pretty long turn 1s where you burn through as much of your deck as possible.
Yeah.
Get energies into discard. Get as many Inkays out ready to go into Malamars as you can. You don't need to find attackers yet. You set them up as and when you need them. From Benjamin, he's got a nice 2-2 split of his Pokemon to evolve, his main attackers. He's got the Sudowoodo out, which basically means Luca's got to be really careful what he chooses to use in this last bench slot.
Yeah, true. It's interesting that he started powering up the Tapu Lele.
Yeah, the Lele is one of the kind of nice attackers because of the fact that Zoroark is mostly taking 2 shots against things that it's not hitting for weakness. So having the ability to Tapu Cure, if you have to, is actually really kind of a sweet little play you can make with it. Unlikely to happen too much.
It also gives you a backup in case you want to retreat later.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting, with no Floatstone, you do have to plan those 4-5 turns ahead of like, I'm going to have to retreat something eventually, so I guess this Lele can be what I choose. In fact, he's probably thinking maybe like just the next turn. He knows that Benjamin's going to be able to take the knockout, or he expects the knockout here on the active Inkay. He can promote the Lele and just move it back out of the way. So another nest ball.
For Zoroark.
It's always the case with the Zoroark decks. The more Zoroarks you have in play, the happier you are. You can draw through more of your deck.
You can play a lot more of these trading card games.
So Benjamin's not gone for the inclusion of the Macargo line. That a lot of Zoroark players are hitting. So instead of going for a kind of heavier support account, he's playing 3 Kukui. So his deck has a lot more reach in terms of it can hit the knockouts on 180 a lot easier than most, which is actually super important in this matchup because it means that he doesn't have to hit for weakness. He can just one-hit KO
Actually,
everything.
I know that Philip and Robin Schulz, they had a discussion because common sense is usually that 2 Zorua and 1 Macargo is better than 3 Zorua. But Philip believes that 1 Zoroark and 1 Macargo already is better than 1 Zoroark. So
interesting. These are some of the decisions that you have.
Interesting dinner.
These are some of the conversations you have when you hang around like top level players. You're just like, but wouldn't this be statistically better? And it's like, no, I don't know.
If I played 200 games on PTCGO,
how many times would having the extra Zoroark be better? I do see Luca's actually playing the escape board in his list as well, so he still has access to free retreat, unlike most lists. And he's going with the Marshadow here. He's like, okay, I can protect the energy. I can shuffle, hopefully throw it into attacker, because I don't think he's discarded anything he can attack with yet. So.
By the way, escape board is an insanely cool card.
It's actually a really kind of fun little card. There's lots of cards it synergizes quite well with. The big one is actually there's an upcoming Jirachi Prism Star, where you can search, I think it's the top 5, and then you can just, it goes to sleep, so you can just skateboard, move it back out.
I just like the concept of it being a skateboard that helps you escape, and the artwork and the effect
it is a pretty cool thing.
Super good, yeah.
So we see another Malamar in hand for Luca. I'm just going to go with Stretcher. I'm going to guess going to take back the Inkay from last turn.
Yeah.
He's got to make sure he always has access to really just 2 Malamar are enough in this deck. You're not looking to put on tons of energy in a single turn. You just need enough to use an attack. But I don't think there's any attacking options in the discard pile.
Not really.
I don't think there's any other Pokemon there. So at the minute, this Marshadow just kind of sat there, kind of being slightly scary in the way that it can be, since it's adorable.
That's cute.
But he's trying to intimidate Benjamin, going, yeah, it's fine. But there is a potential. There's a sleep flip, and Benjamin's it's like, oh really? Come on, guys. Every single time they've rolled this dice today, they've had to they've double checked which side the 1 and the 6 are.
It's very confusing because it's not always the same, and I don't get why.
No, it is strange. So Benjamin having a good look at his options this turn. Really, he wants to be able to deal with the Marshadow kind of aggressively. Kind of get it off the board as soon as he can, but I don't think he has a way to get to the Guzma.
That's the energy to rock.
Well, I know he has a Guzma, so he can retreat. Does he have the choice band? Is the question.
I don't think so. He's retreating again.
No, sorry, I'm guessing he does. But if he has the choice band, he chucks it down. There it is. Takes the 2-prize knockout.
That's an easy 2 prizes.
Well, this is always the big risk for Marshadow. Is it's kind of the only way the psychic decks can keep up with the prize trade, being able to hit for weakness.
Yeah.
But also, it only has 150 HP, which is not a very big number. It's a choice band away. Now they have access to like all sorts of shenanigans as well that they can hit, so it becomes much more difficult. Another psychic energy from Luca. He's just like, I'll retreat before we do this because he wants to be able to guarantee that if he gets an attacker, he can set it up with 3 attachments. The other option would have been, unfortunately, I think Malamar has 2 retreat costs, so it would have been a little bit more awkward to move out of the active.
True. Oh, that's actually a nice draw from an acrobike.
He's got energy something. I didn't see what the other thing was. Skateboard.
Oh. He decided to discard the skateboard.
Well, I think at this point he has enough acceleration. He doesn't mind using attachments for turn.
True.
In different ways. But again, still no
attacker.
No attacker. And having to bench the Mew means he's out of bench space. So he can't even Ultra Ball to go and get something this turn.
So, if you were Luca, for what attacker would you have been wishing for?
So I'm going to have a quick look at his list to see what options he has. So he has there's a Shining Lugia in here, which is kind of nice in this matchup because of the fact that there are lots of abilities on the other side and you can hit fairly heavily. There's also a Deoxys that he could go for. Oh, it's a Deoxys, isn't it? I got the card wrong. The Deoxys, unfortunately, is only really good against fighting types. It's basically the same as the Mewtwo from Evolutions was last year. And the only other option he really has right now is the Dawnwings Necrozma that is fine, but he has the Necrozma GX, so he could take a knockout at least that way, and it's not going to take a one-hit knockout in return. So he could do that if he could get the energies on, but having already used his attachment for turn, he would actually still be short. So he's just having a good look at his options. And it's just back to Benji.
Going for aggro Tapu Lele. Oh, we see it.
Yep,
it's just knockout.
Yep, no, it was just a straight knockout because of the fact that with the devoured field, that was a very quick turn from Benji. That was just like, I'm going to evolve into a Lycanroc, so I'm ready to take game, and also DC. Let's take this knockout.
Benji's now down to 1 prize card, and I think he's going to take game 1.
Yeah, so it's interesting he decided to play. If you could try and find a way of holding onto the Lycanroc, you can just gust up any single prize attacker that you can knock out next turn. But there's enough options that I think he's fine. He can also attach and just use the GX attack.
Yeah.
That knocks out everything, guaranteed. Kind of a weird element of control that Benji has in his list with both the Pseudo and the Lycanroc. You have to be super careful with what you bench, which is kind of forcing big decisions on your opponent from as early as turn 1. You can't overbench, because as soon as you do, the Lycanroc will get you, but the other issue is if you don't overbench, like the Sudowoodo means you have to be super careful. It's even worse here because of the fact that, like, with Luca having to play a whole bunch of Malamars, one of them just got knocked out for game. 3 bench slots for Luca guaranteed on a Malamar. So we're now looking at game 2. We will be able to see an interesting kind of matchup, see how it plays out. It is one of those ones, unfortunately, in this format where there are some polarized matchups.
Yeah.
There are some matchups where you sit down and go, this is a problem. And this is unfortunately one of them. It'd be interesting to see how Luca approaches it. His list doesn't look like it's teched for it.
What would be his match plan?
I'm actually looking at his list, and it doesn't look like he's really teched particularly heavily for Zoroark. There's nothing in the list. He's playing the higher Necrozma GX line than the Dawnwings line, because at least that's not weak to the Zoroark. But he also had a kind of weird start where he couldn't find attacker and missed a few turns. So we'll have to see how it goes.
his start wasn't too bad looking at the support side, but
yeah, just missing key cards, and these are the things. If there are a lot of decks which require getting the cards kind of in the right order.
Yeah, his draw, and I mean, he plays 4 Ultra, 4 Mysterious Treasure. That should actually also 2 Friend Ball. So actually, he should be in a good spot to find the attackers, but somehow it did not work out.
Yeah, it's a bit of an issue where you know can't find just the one thing, but then he also has to get to discard, which is actually not as easy. Though I do enjoy the addition of Friend Ball in this list, since basically everything he plays other than Shining Lugia is a Psychic type. As soon as his and the Marshadow GX, like as soon as they play a Psychic type down, you basically just Friend Ball for whatever you need. You know, they just go Lele. Oh, cool. I'm just gonna take. I need a Malamar, thanks. And that's kind of all you need. So Benjamin's starting the pseudo. Not ideal for him. He's got to get it out of the active position.
Luca starting with Marshadow.
It's actually also not ideal because he needs it on the bench to power it up.
Yeah.
So straight away Acrobike. Ooh, that's not too tricky a decision, I don't think, because you know Friend Ball can get you cards and the energy you need in the discard anyway. And straight away, okay, Dawn Wings in this matchup. Dark Weakness, probably not on my list of things I want in my Pokemon. So we see a treasure. And it'll be interesting to see how he wants to approach this. He wants to get the Marshadow out of the way as quickly as possible, because otherwise he can be kind of.
But he knows that Banji has Sudowoodo in the active position, so also Banji has
also
to put
2
some
Zorua
effort
prized.
in it.
There's also 2 Zorua and one of the Zoroark's prized for Benji.
That's not so good.
You know, realistically speaking, Luca has a little bit more time here to develop his game plan.
Yeah, definitely. Also, he's starting this game. I think last round Benjamin started.
Yeah, he did.
So we might see a little bit of more action from Luca's side in this game.
So we see the Friend Ball come in. One of the newer cards. It's one of the few new cards that we really see that much play, like kind of widely. You know, you just basically choose. Basically, in this case, a fighting type. There's a Sudowoodo in play. It's actually a super nice thing in this format because there's Buzzballs, there's Garbodors, there's Lele's. Like it's almost always live.
I think Friend Ball is also a ball that has no secret rare version.
There might have been one in the new set, I think. With the reprint, I think they may have printed one in the new set. I don't remember. Chat will probably tell me if I'm wrong. So we see another Acrobike, and this is what this turn. This is reminiscent of like the old Night March turn. Mm-hmm. It's not quite as ridiculous with all the battle compressors and the shamans, but in terms of thinning, but they just go, okay, I'll draw some more cards. I'll keep going. I'll just keep going, and then I'll have a whole board set up, and that's all I need. That's easy.
It's a bit like playing Unlimited.
Yeah.
A bit.
Well, no, in Unlimited, they go through the deck, 3 times in a turn?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So here, now this time Luca has managed to hit a few attackers. There is a Dawn Wings in the discard. There is also the normal Necrozma GX, which means that at least this time he has options with his Marshadows.
That's nice. It's Benji's turn now. He's starting with an S-Ball. Probably going for a Zorua, and he might be realizing that half of the Zorua are priced.
These are always why I'm glad we have player cam, because every now and again they'll do a deck search. they'll glance over their price like, oh, you're over. Like this is not the plan. Which you really shouldn't try and do, right? As a player, you don't want to give your opponent the free information of something you wanted is priced. You wanted to make it look as you nest ball and you go, yeah, this is fine. Because they don't know what they're playing around then.
This is what I sometimes did not really like about playing Bridget, because at some very few points, or in some very few games, you just had the point where a lot of stuff was priced and you took awful stuff from Bridget and your opponent immediately knew,
yep, this person's dead drawing, we can win this game. Yeah, it was It's actually one of those tiny things that you can do as a player to just go, okay, don't look over at your prize cards when things are wrong. So the Cynthia sees a lot of play, and I don't think he hit anything else he can really play this turn. It supports in a Marshadow.
Not really.
He's going to just play it. I think that's fair. Luca had a fairly large hand size. This just means that it just makes it slightly less likely that Luca hits the Malamars in the turn he needs them. So Benji, knowing full well that he can really kind of take his time in this, he knows he can kind of set up, get ready, and then he can go in.
And Benji's deck is more of a comeback deck.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad if he takes longer to set up, because he can still turn the matchup around in his favor.
That's true to an extent, but there's also the fact that he really needs to be dealing with the Malamars or like the Inkays before he gets into that situation. He wants to be able to take them out, because if he can keep the game plan of knocking those out, that means that it needs a rescue stretcher, then to draw back into them from Luca before he can keep the acceleration up. Luca's now looking at his hand going, I also don't have much.
Thank you, Benji.
This looks like a lot like it's going to be an attached pass from the way Luca's hand is looking. Yes, this is going to. He's going to look at his discard pile.
I mean, why not?
Well, what he can be doing there is, again, it's little like bluffs of like, I'm just checking what for my attackers for next turn. Like you wait. I'm buying a turn.
I mean, he has another energy.
He only needs to hit one Malamar with that one energy in hand. The escape board already on the active, he can retreat.
He's not in such a bad position.
So interestingly, Benji, also playing the Pham ball, could also search his whole deck at this build point, outside of the Zoroarks.
True.
So he, both players realizing that the typings in this format are actually quite narrow. So Pham ball gets kind of really nice free value for no discard, no downside really.
There comes Lycanroc. Do you know if he has a fighting energy in hand?
Yes.
Yeah, he must have.
He also has the Guzma. And straight in, just flip the GX marker. I'll have those 2 price cards, please. And Luca is really in a horrible position with his hand.
He draws from his Marshadow.
Yeah, Benji. Well, yeah. So Benji, as opposed to Luca, who's been very unlucky with his draws, Benji did hit everything he needed that turn.
Yeah, insane.
So
sometimes you just need to be a little bit lucky.
It always helps.
There's the Deoxys.
And
Deoxys
that's just 2 Guzma in hand, right?
I think so, yes.
So I think this could well be a Guzma, the Sudowoodo, stick it in the active and hope. Make the attachment first, I guess, just to guarantee you get something in.
Do you really want to attach to Marshadow at that point?
No, because that just means that Benji's always going to be trying to KO that anyway.
Yeah.
So you don't want to give him more value for when he eventually does. I think he just top decked a Lele.
Yeah, he did.
So
there's a Tapu Lele in his hand.
So he now at least can get to draw probably change his hand out for something a bit bigger.
I'm just wondering if it would be possible for him to go for another Guzma and go for the Marshadow, but
there's no way of doing the knockout this way. He'd have to.
He'd have to draw a lot.
No, because even with ban with the claw slash, he'd be at 140, not 150, which he'd need. He is playing a copy of Diancie in the list.
He's going to play Kukui. Kukui, that's interesting.
So he can deal with the Deoxys this way.
Claw slash Kukui, that's enough for the Deoxys. And that's what we are seeing right now.
Yeah, he's kind of gone, okay, right, this is not a quick, this is like not a good hand for Luca. Luca's just going to have to do the thing of, I think, evolve and start accelerating energy somewhere and just hope it sticks.
It's really sad because I really would have wished to see that deck working and getting some kind of motion, but he can't really get his energy drive going.
Yeah, well, this is always the problem with these decks, with the Psychic Box decks, is it's very combo reliant, because you need to hit, in the right sequence, energy and Psychic, and your attackers into the discard pile, whilst also drawing into Malamar pieces, and having Marshadows and things to do the attacking. So you're asking an awful lot to happen. When it does all come together, it's one of the most powerful decks, in terms of the raw damage output. But getting to that combination of cards in that right sequence is tricky.
So, Inkay let Lycanroc fall asleep. And,
Just gonna Guzma, retreat, take out the Malamar. It's kind of just he knows he's got he's got a stranglehold on the game now. He's in this position of he can really force this game to go exactly. He dictates the pace.
I mean, Luca can't really do. I mean, Benji's actually not in such a superior position. He only has this one Lycanroc powered up. He does not even have a Zoroark. There's another Rockruff with the energy. So
yeah, if Luca can find
already a way of a threat.
If Luca finds a way of dealing with it, he's okay here. But it's a big old if. So there's one Malamar. He has a Cynthia in hand.
So he's going to try and look for the other.
Energy first. Cynthia. I mean, if this Lycanroc gets KO'd, Benji's not in the best spot.
Is there any attacks he has access to that actually straight one-hit knock out this? I don't think there are. Not in the discard already, because the Dawn Wings, at least he can use the GX attack for 180 and protect it for next turn. But he's already got the skateboard down, so he can't. He wouldn't be able to choice band even though he doesn't play any. He can't quite tick over the 200 damage mark. So
maybe he needs some more hypnosis luck.
Again, you can only stall for so long against Zoroark. He'll find a way eventually. He's got the Mimikyu. So the Mimikyu.
Lose action. But I don't really know if Benji has more than 4 cards in his hand.
I don't think he does.
Yeah, his hand is pretty.
Oh, he does now because he took 2 prize cards last turn. So the prize card. So I think he has 5.
Yeah, let's just see what's going to happen.
So the mysterious treasure really needs to be for something. It's going to have to be for the next Malamar, so you can actually set up. Unfortunately, he's in this really tricky situation where he doesn't want to evolve the active before retreating, because then it gets stuck. But he needs to get the,
Yeah, he needs something.
He needs to do it
to put in the active spot instead.
Yeah, and it can't be the Mar Shadow because he has to attach to the Mar Shadow. So he's actually in this position where he can't get the Mar Shadow into the active position with the right energy requirements.
So he goes for another Inkay.
Yeah, so he knows full well that this Inkay, the active position, is going to get knocked out. Benji has been through both of his Guzma, but there are other ways of getting around things. He
still has Bloodthirsty Eyes to get things into the active spot, so...
Yeah, but it's more about moving his sleeping Lycanroc out of the way.
True.
So he's got the Shining Lugia. It's a really niche option. Kind of has some interesting attacks. The first for 3 can hit 120, which is nice, and then 130. And the discarding energy in this particular case is really not a problem.
Not at all.
You can just put it straight back. So Benji did take the Zoroark off his prize cards last turn, so now he can start trying to draw into, DCE choice band here, and that's all he needs with a Lycanroc. I don't know if he has all the parts in hand, probably not. So he has the trade as well.
Finally has a Zoroark though.
There's the Devoured Field. He has the band, but no DCE right now, and no way of switching.
Would it still be a good play to attach the band already? No.
No, there's no need really, because he can just declare the attack, go down to 1 prize card, and he almost always can take 1.
Yeah, then he's still more flexible. Sure.
Yeah. So Luca's only real option actually is actually quite a nice option this turn, is to recharge onto the Marshadow Guzma for the Zoroark, and then use Dawnwing's GX attack. Makes him immune for another turn, which means that Benji needs he needs a way of switching. And having he's already seen him use Guzma. He has no access to trade then, because the Zoroark will have gone. So he has to be able to have the Guzma already in hand, and I don't think I saw it.
Yeah, I like that play, but let's see if we can make that happen.
Yeah, it's if he can find all the parts.
Is Dawn Wings Necrozma already in the discard pile?
Yeah, I think that was like his first discard in this game, so he's already set that bit up. Really trying to decide on what do I eligible for here. It's a big old hand. I don't hate the Marshadow here, to be honest. Like, it's a fairly big hand. It's a Zoroark deck. That's what they do.
They let loose.
And we'll see what plan Luca has for just trying to survive a turn. If he can survive one turn, he can get the Necrozma, the GX in the discard. He can then potentially, the turn after, have 4 energies on the Marshadow, take the knockout on the Lycanroc, and then suddenly it's 2 prizes to 1. So this is if he can hit all the pieces he needs. Okay, so I kind of like that actually. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that we guarantee 4 energy next turn in case. But it does mean that the Zoroark survives, so he's actually going to have to. Oh, he draws into the escape board,
oh,
so he can take out the Lycanroc.
If he wants to. Let loose.
So, what Luca doesn't know is Benji's hand only had the choice band in it and not an awful lot else. So it's actually not too problematic.
It doesn't really hurt him to get a new hand here. It might even be better than what he initially had. So,
and Benji has things like Lycanroc for an out to be able to gust up the Malamar.
Yeah.
If he can get a DCE. If he draws the DCE here, he's pretty happy. So Luca draws a couple of supporters in his energy card.
Benji just decided to not look at his hand until it's his turn.
There's no need. Sometimes he's just like, right, let's just see what he's going to do. I'll look at my hand afterwards. He's gonna have a peek. He's curious. He's
he's like, decent.
Yes. He's like, yes, this will be okay. I see an energy and a judge. And an Ultra Ball, I think. I didn't see the rest of it.
Okay, it's still Luca's turn. Marshadow's in the active position.
Whole
4
lot of
energies
energy.
attached to it. Oh, this Marshadow is busted.
Yeah, it's going to be taking a really big knockout, copying
The attack of the regular Necrozma GX. He's just going through to find it. I'm going to use Prismatic Burst for the 1-hit knockout.
Luca taking his first 2 prize cards.
Yeah, this is there's an Ultra Ball.
Discarding Judge and Acerola. And
Looks for the Lele. So yeah, because he wants to be able to Cynthia here. If you can Cynthia get the DCE choice band, he wins.
Sure.
Like he could go get the Lycanroc to try and grab something, but then he doesn't get to use the support to draw the cards, and he needs to actually bench something to be able to win it KO the Marshadow anyway. So
yeah, you could yeah.
So having a good search, like okay, right, what are the percentage odds here? I've got 1 trade. I see 2 DCEs.
But does it at this point really matter that much to know the odds?
Well, it's
because
one of those.
He's in a spot where he wants to play the Cynthia anyways, so it's more a question of the correct sequencing.
Yeah, but I think he's just wanting to make sure that his. I think he takes. So Benji is one of the players I know who takes notes occasionally, and he's just kind of going, okay, so the number of outs I have this many DCE, I have this many choice band. Okay, so we could go for that option. There's also by going for the Lele, there's also the Kukui play, which is slightly less involved. But all he needs now is a DCE off a draw 5 cards off the Lily, and 1 off the trade. He's he's one of my favourite players to have on the stream because he's just like, fine. The Nest Ball just to thin the deck with 1 more card, just to hope that he can, make his odds a little bit better. All he wants is a DCE. There's at least 3 left in deck that I saw.
I think so. Yeah, we only saw 1 on the other Lycanroc that already was knocked out. Yeah, we haven't seen any Righteous Beating so far.
Yeah. So there's a large number of answers. I don't think his deck is that large, to be honest.
Not really.
Ah, he missed it again.
He's got the Kukui.
He's got the Kukui and choice band for next turn.
Yeah. So and also the energy. So next turn.
So he can claw slash something. Yeah, if you can get to the Guzma. So this way, he's kind of saying, look, Luca, you have to deal with both the active Zoroark, because at any time I can find a DCE and take a knockout, Or you also have to deal with this Lycanroc because I can just find Guzma.
Oh yeah, he is missing Guzma because he somehow needs to move Zoroark out of the active position.
So...
How many Guzma is he playing? He's playing 2 Guzmas.
Yeah, only playing the 2.
Oh, and his medal is prized.
Yeah. If the Mallow was available, the game would have ended a couple of turns back when he could have got the DC in the band. But see, more attachments coming in a weird way. Having the Guzma, the Malamar active, it's kind of irritating to have to move, but he's going to Guzma anyway. So it just makes it easier to make sure all the attachments go onto the Marshadow, ready to take the next knockout. He's gonna
play another friend's ball. Get some more friends to play.
Hopefully he's remembered that Pseudo is in play. But I think his plan here is to Ultra Ball it away, so he can.
Yeah.
Just thin his deck. Even though you don't have to do the so-called end proofing now with thinning your deck at the late stages of the game to make sure you have half decent draws because you get rid of a lot of the cards you don't want. It's still useful to do it because it means that next turn when you draw cards, you've taken things out. I
mean, you don't really want to see those cards anymore, so you need to get rid of them.
And he already has the Guzma. The Necrozma's already in the discard. I think he has the other attachment to KO the Lycanroc this turn.
Yeah.
Or is he going to go for the Dawn Wings GX attack from the looks of it, going into the Lele?
Guzma.
Yeah, so this way he can 180, he's immune next turn. He knows that there's no gusting left for Benji that I remember. I think he's used his Guzmas. He just pushes the Zoroark forward. There's an Ultra Ball.
Ultra Ball.
That's telling me that there must be another Guzma left and we miscounted. There's no Lele left, so.
There's another Guzma. Like I'm pretty sure I saw the Guzma.
Yeah, so I think he's going to have to go into the Zoroark to trade into it. Oh no, the Lele's on the top. Okay. So
he needs to go for some Pokemon to thin his deck out. So as we said, you always want to optimize your odds.
So he already has access to 1 trade. Could grab this next Zoroark to get 2. But I don't see. I think he's used his Guzmas.
We should have keeping track on that.
Yeah, that was something I should have counted on my notepad, but never mind. Trying to keep track of the gameplay, especially because some of the turns have been pretty short and sharp. I'm just going to Guzma and KO. Let's go. But Benji is having a really good search on this Ultra Ball. Like, wait, but where are they? I'm just gonna. Lily's fine. This is enough. He knows that really he can also set for a 2-hit knockout.
I mean, Benji's still in a good spot. He needs to find some energy, and with drawing as many cards as possible, that's probably the easiest way. It is.
So he has the DCE, but he can't attack the Marshadow this turn, and he needs to. Well, basically, he has to retreat because otherwise, Luca would just be able to declare any attack from the discard and take game 2. So.
And now Luca is in a position where he could potentially win the game.
Yeah, there was the turn basically where there was a lot of missed cards by Benji. Was there a double attach in that last turn?
From Benji's side?
Yeah. No, the fighting energy came down the turn before.
No, the fighting energy was on Lycanroc before Lycanroc was in range to use the attack, and Benji only attached the colorless energy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100%
in that
sure.
turn, yeah. Because he was looking for it for the entirety of the turn before. So...
What you gonna do?
Well, so this is the thing is that he again Luke is in this position of going. I just need a Guzma. Where is it? And it's not so easy to find.
It's the same. Searching for Catcher, searching for Lysander, and now it's the search for Guzma.
Give me the 2 prizes, please. It's basically what winds up happening at this stage of the game. I don't really care how I get to them. Just please give me 2 prize cards.
So close, but yet so far.
Yeah, there's no way to get to it in hand. So Cynthia lives for another turn.
You can really see that Benji's bit of is really relieved.
As soon as that was not a Guzma, he was like, oh phew. Like I thought this was kind of going all the wrong way.
So now there's 6 cards for Luca. What do you? Oh, there's a Guzma.
Yeah, but he needs it this turn, and he's already Cynthia. So he next turn.
He needs to hope that Benji has no way of knocking out any of his Pokemon.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not too bad if he KOs the Marshadow, because then he could go for Guzma, for Sudowoodo or Zorua if Benji does not manage to evolve Zorua.
The risk in doing so is the Zoroark is able to take the knockout on the Marshadow with Choice Band DCE, which would lose the game anyway. He knows here that really he can just pass a couple of turns. Benji has no way of switching the Marshadow from the active either.
If he uses an energy to switch it, he has no energy to attack.
Exactly. So he's
fair enough.
Yeah, it's actually fine to leave this here because he knows he has the Guzma for next turn. So he doesn't need to take 1 prize. Going to -1 prize cards is no better than going to 0 prize cards.
Yeah,
so you can afford to wait for the turn.
Benji is playing 2 Tabula LGX.
Yeah, I think one's in the discard pile because it was knocked out.
Yeah.
And the other one's already benched, so there's no way of getting the supporters he needs. So trade. Finally, Benji's starting to finally trade again at the end of the game. Energy. Yeah, he's just he knows full well that there's as soon as he attached, Luca was like, here's the Guzma, I take game 2. So this is actually the first game I think we've shown today that's going to game 3.
Yeah, that's nice.
And that was a really big comeback by Luca. That was, he was
Definitely.
6-1 down, managed to take the prize cards and use the GX attack at the right time to guarantee himself basically still being in the game.
At the beginning I thought that, this is going to end very soon, but somehow Luca managed to come back, and I'm really excited for the next game.
So this is
anything could happen.
Well, so in the short time period they have for this last game, there's only about 10 minutes left on the timer. Zoroark is always happier because they know that Benji got a little unfortunate in missing the DCE that would have won him the game. So you want to get into the mission where you can DCE, take out Malamar, keep going. And that's all he needs to do.
Yeah.
And maybe this, in a short game, I see it being more likely to favour the Zoroark side because the longer term plan for Malamar is what we saw. Use the GX attack, use the big knockouts in the right turns.
But maybe they're also switching into turbo mode and playing really fast.
That'll be really fun. It's a lot more difficult to commentate on because the game state gets a little harder to read and they're doing it really quickly. But it's a lot of fun. They might they'll definitely be aware of time left on the round. So
probably.
These are 2 experienced players. There's actually something that comes up. It's we actually do have a timer in the hall today, but there's the fact that a lot of the experienced players, they play so many games. They know what 50 minutes feels like to play a best of 3.
Yeah, but it's interesting to note that neither of them is wearing a watch.
Yeah, I know a fair few players who wear one because it just means you can't forget how long's left on the round. But now we see Benji's prize cards. 2 Ultra Balls, kind of inconvenient for the setup, but nothing actually too serious.
Yeah, not too bad. He plays a lot of search cards.
Yeah, he has the Ultra Ball, the Nest Ball, the Friend Ball, the Great Ball. The only thing, I don't know if there were many of the standard legal ball search cards he could use.
He could use... No,
there's none that I don't think...
he's playing all of them.
Yeah, so, he's made sure he can...
Isn't there a dual ball? where you flip a coin, or is that?
And time board as well.
Yeah.
No.
Is doable in the format?
I think so. So I genuinely don't remember.
Well, let's have a look at Luca's prize cards then. There's a Cynthia Marshadow, if I see that.
So that was Luca going, I just want to get the game started. You start your turn. I'll worry about my prize cards in a second. A couple of draw supports of Malamar, Necrozma. His could be a little bit more inconvenient in terms of his setup. It does look like we're going to get a higher pace of play immediately in this game.
Yeah.
Just get these cards from the deck, put them on the board. Let's go.
Both players are already in a very good spot, and if they manage to be at 4-0, they already have half a feat in day 2.
Well, the other big thing is the rule change at the beginning of the season, where you could get 19 points was day 2. So actually going to 3-0 one's still not actually that big a deal. You just go 6-0. You know, they can still hit 6-0-1 easy.
Yeah, true.
And there's lots of other ways they can get there.
But they're also playing on stream, so they want to show what they actually can do. And winning on stream always feels a bit more special than just winning. Yeah.
Well, I say I wouldn't know. But we see energy on the Rockruff always the kind of ideal thing. It's the only attacker in the deck that requires 2 attachments.
Yeah.
So you want to get that energy down first. And you also know against Malamar, it's probably safe. It's got 70 HP, so the Lele couldn't even do anything. There's no way that's being KO'd next turn. It might be put to sleep, but you want to evolve it anyway, right? So it's not really.
You don't really want to attack with surprise attack.
And we see the Shining Lugia has actually now hit the field for the first time in this matchup.
Oh, it's really shining.
I'm not entirely sure. I think what Luca's managed to do actually in all the games is actually hide the Shining Lugia.
Yeah, true.
He hasn't discarded it. I don't think he's even had to use it at all, which is really actually one of those nice things that if you can do that in certain matchups, you get a big edge because they can't possibly play around it
because they don't know.
Yeah, there's no way it's there. So both players now going right. Cool. I'm going to help you be as quick as possible. I'm going to move the Cynthia for you. We both don't want to draw here. Let's just try and get this to be finished.
Yeah, counting his cards again to make sure he's not drawing any extra cards. Everything seems to be correct. And there comes an Ultra Ball. Discarding, of course, an energy. And
a Lily. Going to grab, I guess, an Inkay. Yeah. Inkay, I think it's. So grabs the Inkay out. One of the issues is that he doesn't really want to end his turn with only one Inkay on the board, because Benjamin will then immediately try and target it down. He'll ignore the rest of the board. He doesn't mind. He'll just go, oh yeah, okay. If I can Zoroark, DCE. Oh, there he has a second Lele in hand. He has the DCE, so he's just going to go weakness
policy.
That's
as
a huge deal as well. And you can just take the KO. Yep, that's a super big turn.
Wow, that was fast.
This is Benji kind of going, okay, I want to win. I have 3 minutes. Let's go.
Actually, do you know how to evolve an Inkay in the video games?
It's the one we have to turn the DS upside down,
Yeah, you have to put your DS upside down.
It's a super weird.
It took me ages to find that out. I had to Google it and was so frustrated because I could not find that out on my own.
Unfortunately, it feels like Luca may not be able to evolve any in this game, just because there's none on the board.
Maybe he needs to turn upside down.
Yeah, this is the mistake. Maybe we turn his camera upside down. That would help him. So Mysterious Treasure, grabbing another one, going, look, okay, I've got it. We see, so, this time he can commit 2 Inkay to the board.
Yeah.
Which is a really big deal, because now Benjamin can't just easily go, I'll just take that. And
those Inkay are like Hydra, like you cut one hand, 2 new ones are coming.
Up until 4, because, you can only be 4 copies.
Yeah, then it doesn't really work one step longer. Like the next Inkay.
Rescue Spectre, right? So we see DCE. There was already a Guzma in hand. He's going to go, right, I'll just take another one. Let's just deal with this one at a time. And with the choice band already on, there are 3 Pokemon in play for Luca. So Dangerous Rogue is already hitting some good numbers.
Yeah.
You know, like he has to bench something to attack with that keeps the 3 bench Pokemon. The choice band means he can actually one-shot everything in Luca's deck with the GX attack already. He still has a Lycanroc on the bench. You know, a potential Lycanroc to evolve to Gust to the target he wants to get to. Like he's in a really strong position.
There's another Inkay.
They just keep coming back. But he's just considering.
Well, that's his 4th one, so.
But unfortunately, I don't see a Malamar.
It's only around 1.5 minutes until time. So, yeah. Do you think Benji can make it? Draw 4 more prize cards? I mean, if he keeps up to.
Well, so you also have the extra turns in time, right?
Yeah.
So there's a good chance Benji can take the KOs quick enough.
Yeah.
So a couple of acrobikes. I don't think there's any energy in that discard pile either.
No, not really. There's not a lot of stuff Luca can do. He's attaching to Shining Lugia.
Yeah, this is going to be his preferred attacker for now, I think, whilst since weakness policy is in play, Marshall is a 2 prize attacker that he's, you know, doesn't really want to be giving up right now.
Yeah, not really. I mean, it's understandable.
So we'll see him take a Marshadow.
Oh, there comes the Marshadow.
Both Marshadows.
Marshadow.
So the Let Loose ability again, shuffling both hands into the deck, drawing 4, is actually kind of a nice thing because it's Pokemon ability based draw that you can refresh your hand with if it's really bad. It's only 4 cards, but it's better than having no access to draw at all.
It's one of the only hand disruptions we have in the current format.
Yeah, it's a big factor in these kinds of games where you know it's going to be kind of grindy, so you need to just kind of stop your opponent from having all of the parts every turn, because if they miss one turn, you're okay.
Yeah.
So we're basically at time now in the round.
Almost.
Should be there.
Now it's time.
Yeah. So both players will be notified momentarily. Luca turn 0. There we go.
Yep. Time. And there's not really a way Benji can win, because even though if he manages to KO the Marshadow and take 2 more prizes, Luca's not going to give him another 2 prize card target.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be a tie.
Yeah.
Benji now turn 1 of time. Even if he manages to take KO, doesn't have a way of taking a 2 prize knockout the turn after in turn 3 of time to win the game.
So
this is equally true for Luca. There's no way I can take 6 prizes from this board state.
yeah, but they are still continuing to play.
Yeah, Benji's just trying to work out if there's a way of taking the prize cards. There's also, like, in the case of Benji, he kind of has to hope Luca makes some mistake and benches that second GX Pokemon for him. Luca, obviously an extremely experienced player, it's very unlikely to make that kind of error.
He's not going to do that.
So it doesn't really matter too much. I don't think Benji drew the... But did he draw a basic? Because he needs a bench one to take the KO on the...
I'm not so sure. I think he's going for another Zoroark to have another trade ability available to him.
Mm-hmm.
There's another Lycanroc going for Marshadow,
He's still got
obviously.
He still has to play in case Luca makes makes the decision to bench into the 2 prize attacker.
Retreat for Lycanroc.
And there it goes. Don't do the last 2 prize cards. But Luca turn 2 of time. Really speaking, he can just pass turn here.
Yeah.
It makes no difference. There's no...
Even if he wanted to, he could not bench another 2.
Yeah. I'm looking at his hand. He's like, okay, there's no way of putting a GX onto this bench, so let's just leave it. It's just Guzma out. Take the 2 prizes. Just double checking it all. If they had one more turn of time, and we'd be able to see potential victory for kind of either of them. Their both states have evolved quite quickly in this game.
That's actually very sad.
But unfortunately,
to see such a close series without a clear winner.
Yeah, there's no way of taking 2 prizes unless he's playing something. There's nothing that benches Pokemon for your opponent's discard, right?
No.
There's no buddy rescue in this format.
Isn't there something that does that or did that?
There was, yeah. But now we just see no way of taking these 2 prize cards. He's going to play it anyway.
Yeah.
GX attack to take the thing, and that is the end of the game.
But at least we can say both of these players played equally well, and a tie is definitely not completely undeserved.
Yeah, well, it's actually a really interesting series because game 1, Benji just set up, did his thing, stopped Luca from ever setting up, and just kind of ran through the board.
Yeah.
Then game 2, he nearly did the same thing, but then there was this ridiculous comeback from out of nowhere by Luca. Really nice sequencing of the Marshadow choice attack of the attacks. Benji got a little unlucky in missing so many parts for so long, but that can happen. And game 3 being super close again. A really interesting series.
And really fast.
Yeah. Well, so that was always the really fun thing with these games of game 3s. They're like, right, let's pick up the pace. It's like kind of watching the juniors play. The juniors can also be pretty quick like that. It's fun. So we have another pack to open, ready for another giveaway. So the code will be GRI again, because it's another Guardians Rising pack, or whatever.
It's a Tapu Koko.
Yeah, but how do you...
Sonne und Mondstunde der Wächter.
So there we go.
Say that again.
No. So let's crack open the pack.
Oh, there's already a record.
So there's the code we will be giving away, but we will message the person who wins. Let's try and remember how to do the thing. So we have one of the most widely played cards from this set, Booklet Hill.
It's got
we don't want that one. We have a Field Blower, another nice card.
Not bad.
One of my favourite cards, names in German. Waffles is one of the best card names in German. The old...
I'm a choke.
We have then a Trubbish, also it's not a too bad a pack from a playability point of view.
Actually, it's called Unratütox in German.
What's that translate to in any...
It's like garbage bag.
It's kind of the same. You have a Chop, Delibird, Talo, a Shiny, Reverse Slowpoke, Wishcash, and it was a Water Energy. So you guys type away GRI, there's no exclamation point on the end. We'll enter you into the raffle and we'll message the winner in a minute.
Good luck.
So we'll see you after the break.